it seems unclear to me as to why they took that legal action, you know? I guess
right. And it's not like I was saying, hey, at this particular point, we're no longer following that. I just said, hey, it hasn't been explained to me what is to happen at this point. We'd like to, we'd like to, it's obvious, at that point it was obvious to us that they were trying to hear any type of evidence or that we had to defend our position.
Welcome back. This is The Secret, How to Fight Child Protective Services and Win. I'm Cynthia Becker, and I'm here with attorney Vince Davis and attorney Greg Hausworth from Texas. We're going to take another call, and it's Jesse from Arizona. Jesse, are you with us?
Yes, I'm
Hello?
here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Do you have a story to tell or a question to ask?
Both, actually. So our story, I say our story, it's my wife and I, started off with some false allegations that were made against us. We think we have a pretty good idea of where they're coming from. Anyway, so the CPS investigator came to our door. We felt we didn't have anything to hide, so we let them in. They came in. They said the allegations were domestic violence and like instability of my wife. That's what they were claiming. Now that particular night, they came up with a plan. We followed that plan for 10 days. After the 10 days, they said we were going to have like a team decision meeting. During that process of the 10 days, we cooperated. We got a letter from family. We actually provided some evidence to kind of back up what we were saying, hey, these are false allegations from this particular person and whatnot. So we were told, as it was explained to us, that team decision meeting was kind of a time for us to go ahead and go over that. It wasn't that at all. The team decision meeting is just the concerns, how do you guys think you guys can do better? We went through the process, or I went through the process for about 45 minutes. My wife was supposed to have an hour to herself. In the process of just the 2 hours, all they wanted to hear from her is, you guys are in a domestic violence relationship. She came out of there crying, saying all they want to hear is about, bad stuff. They want me to admit to this and whatnot. So at that particular time, I sent them an email because I guess they were supposed to give me some type of paperwork, some type of plan. They never contacted me whatsoever. They gave one to my wife, but they had the wrong name and whatnot on there. That day, I sent them an email and said, hey, we don't have a clear-cut plan. I'm trying to figure out what you guys want us to do. They did mention about extending it, but they didn't give us a time period. And then I had a question. I said, this affects us. We're a blended family. I said, this affects us in the matter of my wife's 2 children and our child together. I said, but I also have 50-50 custody of my daughters. How does this affect them? Are they involved? They said, no, she wasn't able to answer that for me, but I could still pick them up. So I just erred on the side of caution. I said, okay, I'm gonna hold off on that. So that day they actually showed up to our house and they removed our kids. Now, what they did have a warrant. It was signed. Now, what they said on that warrant was pretty much word per word what the allegations were. It didn't say this couple has been cooperating with us for 10 days. They've been providing letters from family, kind of. Now, mind you, our house, we no felonies, no drugs, no prior convictions, no domestic violence convictions, none of that. So again, they presented just the allegations to the judge. So they took the kids. They didn't place them in CPS. They went with family. So my wife's 2 kids are with an aunt, and then our son is with a close family friend, which we're grateful for. During that time, we were pretty proactive that weekend. Instead of just feeling down for ourselves, we kind of went through, we did the parenting plan approved by the county. We took some anger management classes. Again, no admission of guilt, just saying, hey, we want to be proactive and want to work with you guys. That Monday, because they took them Friday at night, that Monday we went ahead and we filed kind of like not a complaint, but kind of saying, hey, we'd like our case to be reviewed by like a family advocacy group, an independent review from a family advocacy group. They acted like they didn't know what we were talking about. They said, well, we never heard of this or whatnot. I filed it. It's through like the ombudsman office or something. So we filed it. We got a receipt for that. They sent me a backup or like a contact email, but they still have not contacted me back, like saying, okay, what's going on or whatnot. So I guess we have a dependency hearing because they ended up filing the dependency past the 72 hours. I think it was the next day. So we finally have a dependency hearing coming up on this Tuesday. And I guess my question is, you know, if the basis of our caseworker was to remove the children, saying, you know, these guys are so toxic or whatnot that they have issues, how does it not affect my daughters? Don't get me wrong, I'm super glad to be able to pick up my daughters, but how is that not conflicting? Now, I will say this: the allegations, they do stem from something. For example, my wife, she does suffer from anxiety and depression, but she's full on she's on her medication, and again, just we had an incident. I would say the day before the investigation happened, something that, you know, the person that we think made the allegations got wind of, but again, not to what the degree of what they're saying and whatnot. So again, my question is, how does it not affect? You know, how does it, if she's claiming that it's so dire here that the kids have to be out, how is it not affecting our daughters or my daughters from a previous marriage?
So those daughters are coming over, Jesse, to see you pursuant to the court order?
So yes, I have a order that I petitioned. I petitioned, you know, to have 50-50 custody for my daughters.
Right.
So I asked the caseworkers, does this affect it? And I'm also getting pressure from their mom to, hey, go ahead and come pick them up. That's who we think made this, because they made a point to exclude our daughters from this investigation so they wouldn't have to be going through the system.
Boy, that's crazy. What really disturbs me about this situation is that you all were following the plan. Okay, we call that a safety plan here in Texas. And it sounds to me like you were doing everything that you needed to do and being proactive. So it seems unclear to me as to why they took that legal action, you know? I guess
right. And it's not like I was saying, hey, at this particular point, we're no longer following that. I just said, hey, it hasn't been explained to me what is to happen at this point. We'd like to,
right.
We'd like to, it's obvious at that point. It was obvious to us that they were trying to hear any type of evidence or that we had to defend our position. So we said, well, and you guys didn't necessarily want to see it at the team decision meeting. So what's the next step? And that's the day that they showed up. I'm reading through my notes, and I think it says DCS reports the family has been willing to gather information, communicate, and reach out as necessary, willing to participate in TDM today, and have been cooperative with DCS. But again, the warrant that they showed up with, again, was based solely on the accusations made against us.
Interesting. Well, listen, okay, you've got a court date coming up when? Tuesday?
On Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, so I'm going to say just hold steady right now. It would be a shame, I think, to put those two girls at risk. It doesn't sound like
3 minutes.
But at this point, until you get down there, are you doing court in person or are you doing court virtually?
No, we're doing Zoom because of the COVID.
Yeah, okay. At least until you get some clarification, I tell those girls to stay with mom. Let's get this thing figured out on Tuesday because you've got a good situation here. You guys are working hard, and hopefully this court's going to find that you're able to provide a safe and stable environment for these kids.
Really quickly. I know that Mr. Davis's philosophy is working on getting the kids back, and not necessarily winning your case, which is I understand the importance of that. Now, is there to give my wife hope? Is this, and we're more than willing to jump through their hoops if necessary. Is there a positive outcome as far as saying, hey, if they provisions, can we get the kids back sooner rather than later?
I think you might be able to, but you're going to have to, get with your court-appointed attorney or your private attorney, review all the evidence, okay? Sit down and review it together. Have the attorney come up with a strategy and implement that strategy based upon what the attorney believes in his or her experience, not what you believe, okay?
Right.
So I think that it doesn't sound like something that's really serious. There might be a little bit of retaliation here going on against you for going to the ombudsman and filing a complaint. But
there's a ton of that stuff, but I didn't want to waste my time. Again, I know how you say, hey, the most important thing is getting the kids back, so I wanted to make sure that, my call was based on that. But we have documentation on everything. I mean, there was a point my son, and I said, hey, did you get a chance to review some audio and some, some paperwork that I sent to you? Mind you, this is a day, this was several days after she decided to take the kids. She said, oh, was it copies? I said, well,
hey,
so
Jesse,
that tells me that she didn't even make an effort to take.
Hey, Jesse, I want to thank you for calling and thank you for listening. I'm about to be cut off the air because we've reached